Recently I installed No Hesi for a third time, don't ask, but I thought it might be useful just to throw together what I think might be the quickest guide to getting you on track. So here we go. Right, 5 things to cover. The first one might sound obvious, but you can't assume everyone will know. So get yourself onto Steam and find Assetto Corsa, the base game itself. Go for the Ultimate Edition, which should be a pretty good price these days. Next, get yourself onto Discord. Then use the URL invite I've just entered into my browser, which will get you onto the No Hesi server. As with everything, I'll chuck the URL into the description below. And when I first installed No Hesi, I couldn't actually get onto their server because they'd hit 1 million members, but that restriction has since been lifted, which you'll soon come to realise is pretty handy. Third on the list is the 7-zip compression software. Some of the downloads have the .7z or z file extensions, and will need 7-zip to extract them. And it's also a plugin to Content Manager software, which will make sense shortly. Penultimate thing is to find and note your Assetto Corsa root folder via Steam by following the steps I'm running through right now. Once complete, simply open a Notepad session and paste it in. We'll be using these details more than once later on. And finally, while we're in Steam, go and get your Steam ID after going to account details in the top right, and also paste that into Notepad for use later on. Other guides I've followed want you to download one thing at a time, do the related setup and then download the next thing and repeat. We're not going to do it like that. So the first thing you need to do is get yourself over to the Discord server, the No Hesi and the downloads channel, or see the current URL in my description below for the first downloads. These are going to be the track and car packs you see here. And over time, this process has been simplified, luckily, where the traffic and the cars you drive are all now one download instead of multiple. So around 4.4 gig for the car pack and a whopping 13 gig unzipped, and nearly 1.2 gig for the tracks, sometimes referred to as the map pack. That unzips to around 1.8 gig. It won't matter where we extract these files, as we'll be copying them somewhere else shortly. Now, some guides will also mention a weather effects pack called Soul, but to keep a long story short, that's been largely superseded by mandatory shaders that we're going to be installing later, so don't lose any sleep over that one. And last but by no means least, we're going to download Content Manager. I had no idea what this was initially, but in summary, it's the alternative launcher and management tool for Assetto Corsa, dealing with all the wonderful mods available for this game. Right, now we've got our 3 main downloads, it's time to move some files around. But first, while we're on the subject of the Content Manager, that's where we'll start. So we want this one readily available to launch, and it can't live in the download folder forever. So what I've done is I've cut and pasted it into my documents folder where the Assetto Corsa config files live. And here I've created a shortcut of the exe and pinned it to my start menu because that's what works best for me. Next, let's get Notepad back up because it'll contain a particular disk location that's now fairly useful. It's also a little easier if you have the folders side by side like I have, extracted mods on one side, Assetto Corsa install folder on the other. I've navigated one extra folder deeper than necessary just to show the breakdown of where everything ends up, spanning 4 main folders. Simply drag and drop them across, and that'll be all the cars and traffic sorted. Finally, we'll navigate back to our extracted tracks, navigate into the content folder. Here there's only one folder to worry about, and with the correct folder already open on the right hand side of the screen, simply drag and drop just like we did before. All done. Let's pretend when I recorded this part, Content Manager was where I said it should be. Anyway, this is the initial first time setup process, and you'll want to copy and paste from Notepad one last time the Assetto Corsa root folder. Next is our Steam ID, which you've also got on your Notepad session from earlier, I'm sure. What's your name section? My understanding was always that this is your Discord username, so that's what I've always gone with. And no harm in adding all the plugins just in case you need them later down the line, especially 7-zip. So once that's all done, hit OK. So now the first time setup is out of the way, we just need to smash through the relevant settings in Content Manager. When it launches though, it's worth checking here in the top right for any updates. We've got a couple of cars listed, so we'll install those first. Shouldn't take too long, and when finished, next we want to find the Custom Shaders Patch tab, or CSP, which is a sub-tab of the settings in the top right hand corner. For the sake of this guide, I went ahead and uninstalled the shaders I did have installed, just so I could show you the install process. It's pretty straightforward. Select just the latest one that's hopefully got a recommended next to it, and it will just run through the install without a fuss. Next, whilst we're on the Custom Shaders tab, head down to the Weather Effects menu option. Under the Weather Style, it should already be on default for you, which is fine, but if you've got the Sol Weather Pack installed, this is where you'd activate it from, whilst making sure, of course, that the boxes you see on screen, which are checked for me, are checked for you too. I'm changing mine back to default before moving on to the final menu tab. So with that said, head over to Assetto Corsa in the top left-hand corner. I've already landed on the Python apps menu. Just make sure chat is activated along with any Sol options if you've got that going on. Then under the video menu, head down to reflections and ensure that the rendering frequency is 1 face per frame, which seems to be the recommended setting out there. Now, this seems to be the last menu we're interested in, which gives you the option to save a preset. So I've taken the opportunity, although I can't confirm if this is necessary or not. And finally, it's nearly over. Head over to the Content Manager tab in the top left and down to the Drive menu item. By default, you may find the extended weather options already checked. Uncheck them all 3 of them. Then lastly, even if you don't do VR, it's recommended to check the override default PP filter, and that will just about do it. Now, if you haven't already, make sure you've jumped into Assetto Corsa via Steam and set everything up, pedals, calibration, button maps, etc. Then by far the easiest way to jump straight in and try everything out with no Hesi is via the Discord server. So head down to the public server links to be presented with these options. Now I'm in the EU, so that's where I'm heading, and I can see the player count down here for the most accessible no DLC servers aren't completely full, so let's join one of those. Content Manager will launch. We shouldn't be prompted to install anything that's missing, but be prepared to do so. And we'll pick one of the available cars, but make sure you're not too slow joining the server once you have picked something, because there's a slight chance that someone has picked the same car and is launching the game at the same time. It will error out on launch, but that's fine. Just go again with whatever cars are available next time around. So for a very quick start guide with the bare minimal to get things going, that's it from me. Plenty of supporting info on the No Hesi Discord server. Credit to all those associated with the mod, of course. And if I've missed anything crazy or it becomes dated in any way, do let me know in the comments and I'll remove the content if it's no longer helpful. And if you have followed this guide, I hope everything goes smooth and happy modding.